look at the geography of Uganda. Introducing ourselves to the Pearl of Africa. We want to see the demographic, the topographic, the geographic, anything that deals with the geography in Uganda. We want to introduce ourselves to this lovely country, the Pearl of Africa, as Churchill called it. We go. Welcome back from that lovely, beautiful view of our Pearl of Africa, and that is Uganda. So I welcome you to today's lesson. As I've said, so it's the geography of Uganda. Briefly, as you see on that side, the map of Uganda. I want to show you the perception or the kind of location of Uganda in the broader picture, and that is Uganda in Africa. Uganda is found in Africa, and it is in the central eastern part of Africa, as we see over this other side here. So this is our country, Uganda. Neighboring in the east, as we shall see, this is Kenya, this is Southern Sudan, this is Democratic Republic of Congo, Rwanda, and then in the south, here we go with the Tanzania. So we are saying, as we bring it closer to us to see, so that this is Uganda, the Pearl of Africa. It has different kind of regions, as we can see. We have the northern, we have the eastern, we have the central, and then we have the western. The southern would have been there, but unfortunately, or fortunately, it is occupied by this massive water body known as Lake Victoria, the largest, by the way, the largest in Africa. So we are blessed to have. We move on. We are saying Uganda, officially the Republic of Uganda, is a landlocked country in the East Central Africa. Unfortunately, we don't have a sea route, but we have inland ports, that is Port Belt and others. So it is bordered to the east by Kenya, to the north by Southern Sudan, to the west by the Democratic Republic of Congo, to the southwest by the Republic of Rwanda, and then to the south, the extreme south, that is by Tanzania. So we're saying the southern part of the country includes a substantial kind of portion of Lake Victoria, as I've said earlier, which is shared by these three countries, and that is Uganda, Kenya, and Tanzania. Uganda is found in the African Great Lakes region. We are blessed to have quite a number of lakes. So that's what we're saying. It is found in the Great Lakes region in the east central part of Africa. So it lies within the Nile Basin, and we all know that the greatest and the biggest and the longest river in the world, and that is the Nile. It originates from Victoria. So we lie within the Nile Basin, and has a variety. It has a varied but generally modified equatorial climate. This is so because we are close. Not even close, we lie along the equator. That's why Churchill calls this the Pearl of Africa. Uganda takes its name from the Buganda Kingdom, which encompasses a large portion of the southern of the country, including the capital city of Kampala. So allow me explain this a little bit, that Uganda gets its name from a kingdom known as Buganda. U If you remove B on Buganda, you have Uganda. So that's why we say it gets name from Buganda. And Buganda gets name from Obuganda. Buganda means a bundle. So this bundle signifies unity and togetherness. So different Bugandas or Buganda, different of them made. If this is one bundle, another bundle, that is a bundle is Akaganda. Another one is Akaganda. So many of them are called Obuganda. So Buganda with different clans but unified. That's where the name came from. So it's one of the powerful kingdoms in Uganda. And that's why Uganda gets its name from Buganda. As the early colonial masters, when they first came, the civilization they found in Uganda gave them a leeway, gave them a kind of motivation actually to name the whole nation after the kingdom, Buganda. So it's where even the capital city originates, and that's Kampala, within Buganda Kingdom. We move on. So we want to look at the relief regions that make up our Pearl of Africa, and that is Uganda. What we've been looking at was, one, we've been looking at the location of Uganda in Africa, Central Africa, Eastern Africa. Now we want to understand the regions that make up, the relief regions that make up Uganda. Here we have highlands, we have plateaus, we have lift valleys, and then we have basin, and then we have hills. This map here tries to show us an understanding of what we are talking about. This is Uganda, trying to bring out in a 3D. So we are saying first highlands, mountains. As we said, Uganda is blessed. Uganda lies on a plateau, but with highlands, with a lifty valley, with basin, and above all, hills. That's why we say it's a Pearl of Africa. You never get this anywhere else. So we're saying, first, the highest mountain in Uganda, the highest point in Uganda is Mount Rwenzori, and that's the Margarita Peak. We move on. Next is Mount Elgon in the eastern part of the country. We have Mount Moroto, northeastern part of the country. We have the Mahavura south. We have the Chigezi Hills. That's so beautiful. We have the Central Plateau. We have the lowlands as you're going north, and the areas of eastern. For example, in Tororo, areas of Soroti, you find quite a low-lying kind of a plain, vast plain. We have the Nile Basin, as we said, we lie in the Nile Basin. We have also the Victoria Basin. So this tries to help us understand the brief about the relief regions, the topography of this nation, Uganda. So we have said we have highlands, plateaus, lift valley, basin, and then hills. On this one, this arm, the western arm of the Great Rift Valley, takes up all this area. As you can see, this is our Rift Valley, where we see the Rift Valley lakes as Albert. We come to Edward, and then George around this area, and then as we go to Tanzania, we have Tanganyika. So this area here is a Rift Valley. Hope you can see that. This is the western arm of the Great Rift Valley that takes up part of Uganda, in the western part of Uganda. Then on this other side, Uganda is well endowed with several mountains. Some of the different mountains in Uganda include Mount Elgon in eastern Uganda, Moroto northeastern, Rwenzori Mountains, also known as the Mountains of the Moon, is located in the western part of Uganda. And this is one of the beautiful, beautiful, beautiful sceneries that we have in Uganda. If you've not visited, please, you better do so. Briefly in the video below, I'll show you the sights and sound of this mountain. We move on. We have what we call also Virunga Mountains, are located southwestern and Muhabura, southern part of the country. We also have hills, quite a number of hills. In this study today, we have just picked out a few. We have quite a number of hills. But today we look at Tororo Rock, one of the significant kind of feature. If you've gone to Tororo district, you will tell me. You can't miss it. It's within the town. Usukuru Hills, as we speak, Usukuru, there are going to be some kind of mineral exploration around that area, and that is the phosphate mining by the Dongsong kind of industry, found in the eastern district of Tororo. Then we have the beautiful Chigezi Hills in the southwestern. My goodness, you need to go there. They're quite amazing. And how people have been able to do cultivation of those hills, it is quite amazing. It's quite amazing. So this shows you how beautiful this country is, the Pearl of Africa. Highlands. We move on. Hope you have seen how beautiful it is. If you have not visited, please, you better do so. It's quite amazing. It's quite amazing. I can't stop watching that video. Right now we are on Mount Elgon. Briefly here we are just going to look at pictures or photos. We can't be running videos. It will take us some time. So here we are looking at Mount Elgon. Then we have Mount Moroto, Mount Muhavura, Mount Virunga, not Virunga, Mount Virunga, and then the hills. That's the Chigezi Hills, and then the Torok. The Chigezi Hills, as you can see, earlier I was telling you how amazing they look like, how people have been able to live and cultivate on this kind of rugged terrain. It's beautiful. You can see how the terraces are helping. Lovely, lovely. Then the Toro Rock within the heart of Toro Town. We move on. We want to look at climate. Climate of Uganda, the Pearl of Africa, is categorized of kind of three types. One, we have the equatorial, that is influenced by the equator that runs through the country, and this is along the equator near the Victoria Basin, which receives hot temperatures and 2 peaks of rainfall in the months of March and September, the equinox, due to the effect of the equator line. Then we have the tropical, the warm tropical kind of climate. Uganda has a warm tropical climate with the temperatures falling in the 25 to 29 degrees C. That is 77 to 84 Fahrenheit. That average. The months of December and February are hottest, but even during this season, evenings can be chilly, with temperatures going to 17 and 18. That's 63 to 64 Fahrenheit. Uganda receives an annual rainfall of 1,000 to 1,500 millimeters. It's quite good, and that's why we are saying that it depends on agriculture. It's the backbone. The rainy season are from March to May, from September to November. Now this comes in the context of the hemisphere we work here. So we have also the montane kind of climate that is found on different mountains. Those who have watched the sights and sound of Mount Renzo very well, you can understand this very well. So this is montane, found on different mountains, Renzo, Elgon, Moroto mentioned by a few. So this is the brief about the climate of Uganda. People love it, tourists love it. It's beautiful. It's hot throughout there, and rains will come. So we move on. Just briefly, I want to show you how the vegetation looks like. The equatorial kind of vegetation is common around areas of ginger, and that's the Mavira forest, Entebbe, Wakiso, and then the western part of the country. Then the tropical stroke savanna kind of vegetation is quite large. It's quite the largest. It's common in areas of, let's say, Kasese, where we have the Queen Elizabeth kind of national game park. Areas of north, areas of northeastern, areas of central, briefly central shares with the equatorial, then West Nile, then the northeastern, briefly, then areas of Kochido, the Karamoja area, Karamoja area, normally receives semi-arid. Kind of have a semi-arid, transferring from the Turkana region, and then that semi-arid tendency kinds to happen in the Karamoja region. So briefly below are the pictures to show us equatorial, where we normally talk about the dense kind of luxuriant tree growth. You have seen it here in this other picture of the equatorial. You can see we have tall trees and 3 canopies. If we to count, we have the last one, the middle one, and then this other that is going down here. So this is influenced due to the hot and wet. So the higher amounts of rainfall received here influences the growth of this luxuriant vegetation, the equatorial rainforests. Then this other side we have the savanna, which has influenced quite a number of game parks in Uganda. The largest being Markshan Falls Game Park. Next is Queens. We have Kidepo. We have Lake Mburo Game Park. We have Eligon. We have Renzori. We have Semiriki. Mention quite a number of these game parks, which have added to the economy of the country through tourism. Later in the lesson, we shall look at tourism of Uganda. We move on. So I want to look at the drainage system of Uganda. And these are the water bodies. As we been noting earlier that Uganda lies within the Great Lakes region in Africa. We're blessed to have quite a number of lakes in Uganda, and the largest being Lake Victoria. So Uganda is blessed with a number of inland freshwater bodies, lakes, rivers, and swamps. Lakes include Victoria, the largest in Uganda, and Africa, Choga, Albert, George, Edward, Wamala, Nakivale, Bunyonyi, Katwe, and other crater lakes. Many lakes. We're blessed with freshwater bodies in Uganda. Then Uganda also has some unique lake. This lake is full of history and shows how determined Ugandans are. Our great grandfathers did this. Uganda also has Kawaka's Lake. This is a man-made lake. I guess it's the only man-made lake we have in East Africa. You'd correct me, but I'm telling you, you need to see this lake. It is within the capital city of Uganda, in Indeba. We move on to the rivers and drainage. Nile is the biggest and longest in Uganda and Africa at large, as it drains from Victoria to the Mediterranean Sea, Cairo, in Egypt. So it is the longest. That's the biggest also in Uganda and above all in Africa. We're blessed to have it. Nzoia, Kagera, Kafu, Mayanja, Aswa, Manafa, mentioned by a few, quite a number of rivers in Uganda. We can't bring them all here, but we have quite a number of rivers. Swamps. Uganda is also blessed with a number of wetlands around the Victoria Basins, on the plateau and lowlands of the country. Quite a number. Here we can mention the Ruviji swamp, the Ruela swamp as you're going to Masaka, the Mayanja swamp as you're going to Mitiana. Many swamps, many swamps and wetlands. We're blessed to have that, and that's why it's called the Pearl of Africa. Here we want to look at a map is trying to show us the water bodies, the major water bodies. We have Albert, we have Victoria, as we shall see. And then when you look at rivers, we have quite a number of them, as we have seen earlier. Here, we're trying to show you the major lakes on this map. We have Choga, Victoria, Albert, Edward, and George. So these are the major lakes that we have in Uganda, and these are all freshwater lakes, inland lakes. So it's a fact that we lie in the Great Lakes region in Africa. No African country that possesses quite a number of lakes like Uganda does. It's blessed with water, fresh water. I'll continuously stress the fact that it's the Pearl of Africa. Yes. So here we're trying to show the Rift Valley, and this is the eastern arm. This is the western arm. The western arm of the Rift Valley in the western direction. So lakes below are Rift Valley lakes, where we have Albert, where we have Edward, where we have George, and this is formed due to a process of faulting. So this is one of the arms of the Great Rift Valley in Africa, and we're blessed to be part of the Great Rift Valley. So which other country can be the Pearl? It's Uganda. It's Uganda. So this helps us to understand the geography of this nation, Uganda. With this, allow me end our lesson here today, and hopefully you've picked something from this lesson. See you the next time.